received this message from a woman. I'm going to read out the message and then share my advice. If you have any thoughts or advice about this, you're welcome to share it in the comments. Assalamu alaikum, sister. I hope you are well, inshallah. My husband and I have had a positive, intimate relationship. However, due to experiencing ongoing bleeding, our intimacy has been affected as we have not engaged in penetrative intimacy. My husband is finding it increasingly difficult to have any form of intimacy with me, even just kissing or cuddling, because he says this leaves him feeling frustrated. I understand how he's feeling, but I am also really missing being with him. Sexual intimacy was a big part of our relationship prior to this, and so it has had a negative impact on our marriage. I'm not sure how to navigate this with him. I would appreciate your perspective. Okay, the first thing I want to say is, from my Islamic research, if it is irregular bleeding, meaning it's not menstruation type of bleeding, if it's something, I think it's called istihada, I think that's how you pronounce it, it's called irregular bleeding, then from my Islamic research, it is permissible to engage in penetrative sexual intimacy with your husband if the type of bleeding that you're experiencing is irregular bleeding and is not part of your normal period. So you can engage in penetrative sexual intimacy with your husband if it's irregular bleeding. Having said that, you've mentioned things like your husband's finding it difficult to engage in any form of sexual intimacy because he's feeling frustrated. It could be that him kissing and cuddling you leads to him feeling aroused and turned on, and then he has kind of no outlet for releasing that, or no outlet for experiencing the sexual satisfaction that he craves, probably because you and him see sexual intimacy in one specific way, and you see it as the only way that you can both be satisfied is by engaging in penetrative sexual intimacy. But I'm here to say that it is completely 100% possible for the man and the woman to experience pleasure and satisfaction even through non-penetrative forms of sexual intimacy. It is very possible for you to satisfy your husband even if he doesn't penetrate you. You can use your hands, use other parts of your body to satisfy him, and vice versa. He can use his hands, other parts of his body to satisfy you sexually, even without penetration. So I've already addressed the first part where Islamically you are allowed to engage in penetration if it's irregular bleeding. But let's say penetration is really painful, perhaps maybe because of the bleeding. You don't have to engage in penetration. You can satisfy him sexually through non-penetrative forms of intimacy. He can satisfy you sexually through non-penetrative forms of intimacy. And you've said that you miss that intimacy with him. And so now, moving forward, you and him no longer need to avoid kissing and cuddling, because if he, as your husband, realizes that the kissing and cuddling can still lead to him being satisfied, like he can rub his genitals on any part of your body and he can be satisfied that way. What matters is that you as the woman take it upon yourself to decide that this intimacy, penetrative or not, is going to be pleasurable for me and is going to be pleasurable for him, and I'm excited as his wife to satisfy him sexually, and I'm excited as the woman to receive sexual satisfaction back. So that is what really matters. So I would say communicate those things with him that I've discussed already. I hope that this was helpful, inshallah.